Good afternoon. Today I will be doing a speech on gun control. So, gun control. Guns are a prevalent thing in America, especially nowadays with all of the mass shootings and school shootings that occur at almost random anywhere within the United States. Well, my goal today is to persuade you guys that the United States need to have stricter gun laws on assault rifles primarily, but in all guns in general. So to start my speech, I would like to start with the opposing view that you may have heard time and time again from people who think that our gun laws are perfectly fine the way they are. And that is, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Now, I do actually agree with this. I agree that guns don't kill people and that people do kill people. The problem with this saying is that people use it in a way to kind of validate the reason that, hey, my gun doesn't kill anybody, it's the people. So we don't need stricter gun laws, we need something different. When in actuality, what's really happening is people kill people with guns. Now, with that being said, I want to attack the first point, which is that when we get into a situation like this, there is really no need for civilians specifically to own AR-15s. In an interview with NBC News, in an article by John Swift Jenkins, a trauma surgeon, he said that higher muzzle velocity projectiles, if they strike an organ, can kill somebody compared to the lower muzzle velocity munitions such as pistols and things of that nature. And because of this, it doesn't make any sense for us as civilians to own assault rifles specifically, because we have no reason to kill another person. Now, the argument is that we need them for self-defense and things of that nature, hunting. But even then, we don't really need it. For that reason, we have other weapons that can do the same thing without the power of weapons such as the AR-15. For the most part, I will be kind of bullying the AR-15 inside this speech because of recent news, the AR-15 has been the main subject of use in these situations. And the important thing to note is that assault rifles weren't made for civilians. They were made for war, for soldiers. That's why they do what they do. In an article called The AR-15 Killing Machine or America's Gun, written by a reporter named Skylar Swisher on sunsentinel.com after the school shooting in Florida, Dr. Joseph Scaron, a trauma surgeon at Johns Hopkins Hospital, said, "The wounds caused by AR-15 tend to be more severe than handguns, shot 3 times faster than handguns, and they rip through the body and mangle organs." Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't quite see a reason to have a weapon that would do that. I don't see a reason for civilians to be able to rip through body parts. And that is actually a big point, because that means that one bullet doesn't just kill one person. It can kill multiple people who are in a line. And with the mag size of an AR-15, you can kill multiple people within just a couple of seconds, compared to if you were to have a different weapon such as a pistol or shotgun or even a hunting rifle of sorts. You would not be able to take nearly down as many people. For that reason, we would need stronger gun control laws such as background checks and maybe even family mental checks, where you ask around people to see exactly where this person stands mentally. This is a very important fact, because now this brings us to the next point inside my slide, which is, do we really need it? As I said earlier, we don't really need it. There's really no reason for us, even in a hunting sense or self-defense sense, to have an AR-15 that will rip through somebody with no problem. Even the NRA says themselves that AR-15s are made and used for self-defense and hunting purposes. But in an article called the AR-15 killing machine or America's rifle, which, believe it or not, is a different article. Mike the gun guy Weiser, retired gun dealers, mentioned that AR-15s aren't even really that good for hunting. Nothing more than like a small rabbit or a critter of such sorts. And they're not even really good for self-defense either, considering that with the stopping power of an AR-15, they will go through windows and walls, thus hurting more people than initially targeted. And even in a Washington Post article by Abigail Hallheiner called "I Don't Need It," Fabian Rodriguez, a person that she was interviewing, even said that he doesn't need the gun. For a matter of fact, he actually said that statistically, a revolver would do the same thing self-defense wise as an AR-15. And with that being said, in a hunting sense, there is literally a hunting rifle out there for hunting, which means that the AR-15 that you would be using for hunting isn't necessarily needed. And this goes not only for AR-15, but assault rifles in general. Now, with that being said, this brings me to my third point that people will like to say, it's my right to own this gun. It is true that the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms. Now, it's important to take into consideration that this amendment was written by men who had little muskets that shot balls of metal once every 20 minutes. Now we have rifles that can mow down an entire room of people within a couple of seconds. It is important to know that it doesn't quite make sense for this law, for this constitutional law to work in the same way that it would back in the day. And more specifically, they made it vague on purpose just so that if needed, we could change the law in a way such as to ban AR-15s. The right says you have a right to bear arms, which means you have a right to own a gun, not a right to own specifically an assault rifle or AR-15. Now, with all that being said, I hope that I was able to give you some point of views from a more straight side, more logical side, that AR-15, specifically assault rifles, are not needed in the hands of civilians, and that stricter gun laws could actually lower the amount of killings and school shootings within the nation. And many also do argue that the black market plays a deal, but no ordinary person can even reach the black market. So it isn't really an argument that can be made. Hopefully, with the information that was given you today, you will be able to agree with me that there are needs for rifles, but not specifically assault rifles, and that stricter gun laws need to be put intact so that the protection of the American people can and will be protected.